Few images from the 20th century are as universally recognized as Winston Churchill, the wartime leader perpetually armed with a cigar and fueled by a legendary intake of alcohol. His verifiable daily consumption habits are staggering. He started his morning with a whiskey and soda at breakfast, drank an imperial pint of champagne, nearly 20 fluid ounces, with lunch, consumed another full pint of champagne at dinner, and worked late into the night drinking cognac. Modern medical science exhaustively catalogs the consequences of this specific, chronic volume of ethanol. A daily intake of this magnitude guarantees severe physiological degradation, including liver disease, heightened cancer risks, and profound cognitive decay. An ordinary person attempting to process this much daily alcohol while bearing the crushing, relentless stress of a global conflict would face rapid physical incapacitation, if not death. Churchill lived to the age of 90. He survived this extreme intake because his daily routine functioned as a highly engineered, biologically balanced system of chemical management. To understand his capacity to lead under immense pressure, we have to discard the myth of the lucky heavy drinker and break down the specific physiological math of the Churchillian engine. The first variable in this system demystifies the legend that he was drunk all morning. His famous breakfast drink, dubbed the Papa cocktail by his family, was actually a tiny splash of scotch covering the bottom of a large tumbler, filled the rest of the way with water. His private secretary described it as scotch-flavored mouthwash. Churchill sipped this highly diluted beverage slowly over several hours. This chart shows the concept of a maintenance dose. By continuously introducing a microdose, he titrated the dose to stave off physical withdrawal symptoms like tremors and anxiety. The low volume kept him below the threshold for cognitive impairment. This precise pharmacological maintenance kept his body physically steady and functional for the morning's work. The heavy drinking was strictly isolated. He consumed his massive doses exclusively during his lunch and dinner hours. These specific drinking periods were always accompanied by voracious, multi-course meals loaded with proteins and fats, featuring heavy soups, game meats, and rich cheeses. This graph shows blood alcohol concentration. Drinking a pint of champagne on an empty stomach causes a sharp spike, leading to immediate intoxication. But introducing a massive, fat-heavy meal delays gastric emptying, flattening the BAC curve and preventing an acute surge into the bloodstream. He paired this dietary shield with a mandatory hour-and-a-half afternoon siesta. This scheduled sleep provided his body the necessary metabolic downtime to process the delayed lunchtime alcohol load. His heavy appetite and rigid sleep schedule acted as mechanical shields. They gave his liver the time required to clear the toxins, preventing acute alcohol poisoning during his high-volume spikes. Over decades of heavy drinking, the central nervous system physically alters its own structure to survive the constant presence of a depressant. This scale represents neuroadaptation. To fight alcohol's sedative effects, the brain decreases inhibitory receptors and increases excitatory ones. Without alcohol, the rewired brain is severely overexcited. Adding alcohol corrects the imbalance, suppressing the excess excitation and bringing the brain back to a stable homeostasis. His physiologically adapted brain actively required the depressant just to achieve a normal baseline of operation. Even with these physical adaptations, alcohol remains a heavy biological depressant, yet he frequently maintained intense, clear-headed work sessions until 3 in the morning. The final component of his physiology is the documented prescription of powerful stimulants by his personal physician, Lord Moran. During World War II, both Allied and Axis militaries issued tens of millions of stimulant pills, primarily amphetamines and methamphetamines, to keep their bomber pilots and frontline infantry awake and aggressive for days at a time. Churchill utilized his own prescription amphetamines to directly counteract the cognitive dulling and severe sedation caused by his daily alcohol intake. He balanced heavy central nervous system depressants against military-grade stimulants to artificially extend his wakefulness and sharpen his mind for late-night wartime decisions. Posthumous accounts by his doctor suggested Churchill suffered from a clinical mood disorder he called the black dog, leading some to believe he was self-medicating a chemical imbalance. Historical records and first-hand accounts from his closest family strongly contradict this diagnosis. He utilized the alcohol as a high-dose tranquilizer to manage the crushing daily situational stress of a nation under siege. His functionality relied on a precarious, interdependent stack: precise liquid microdosing, heavy dietary shields, profound neurological adaptation, and prescription amphetamines. Churchill constructed a highly engineered, high-risk medical system to bear the weight of a world at war.